Echo 3 used to be a four-letter word in my life many years ago when I was in the military. It was a job that I had to do when I was stationed in Germany, and I hated it. And I mean, I hated it so bad that I would start to prepare myself mentally for about 2 days before I had that job, and I had it once a week. It was a 12-hour shift, the busiest intersection in our base, and I had to check IDs, and you're on your feet the whole time, which isn't that bad. It's a lot of walking, but a lot of times Germany was either freezing, raining. You had to deal with a ton of people because the intersection, it was like, think of the busiest intersection in your city. It was like standing in the middle of that all day long, checking IDs because you were working in a restricted area and only people with a certain badge could get in. But there were thousands and thousands of people trying to get in, and I had to go and check every single person in those vehicles, and I had to act like I liked what I was doing, and I hated it. And I didn't like my bosses at the time, so I was absolutely miserable. And all the time, all that went through my mind is that one day I could walk into my boss's office, which in the military you have a lot of bosses, so there was a lot of them. I was picturing this as, and just pointing my finger at them and saying, you can take this job and shove it. Because I hated it so much. I was so miserable, so depressed, so dissatisfied and discontent with everything. And yes, the weather was bad. Long hours. It was hard work. And yes, sometimes I had idiot bosses. I was doing things I didn't feel fulfilled. But here's my question. Was it the job or was it me that was causing all of my problems? Now, if you've guessed me, you're correct. It was me, because my focus was wrong. I was focusing on all that was wrong, or at least all that I saw that was wrong in that job. But I never once changed my focus to see what was good about it, and there was a lot of good. I didn't learn that until many years later, until I was after the military, unfortunately. So I spent 8 years doing things I was miserable because I focused on the wrong things. I focused on what I call the low-hanging fruit, the easy stuff. Let's try it with you. Think about your job right now. We know most Americans are unfulfilled in their jobs. 70% don't like doing what they're doing. So my question still remains, is it you or is it your job? You know, when it becomes a little personal, no, it's not as easy for us to swallow. But I bet for the majority of us, it's us and not the job. Even if you have an idiot boss, even if you're working for a company you don't like, even if it's doing something you don't feel fulfilled, or you have personality conflicts, or it's hard work, I believe you can make a decision by changing your focus, and it will change everything in your company by looking at what is good. So here's your homework today. If I asked you right now, I want you to take a legal pad and I want you to write down everything you believe is wrong with your company, job, profession, or business. Everything. And do it as quickly as you could. I bet you could do 10 in 10 seconds. Maybe 20 seconds. I bet you could do a lot more than 10. Now, here's the other part of that homework. Flip the page over. Blank page now. And I want you to write as many things down as possible in just as quick of time, but what's right with your company. What you're doing good with your company. You and your company. Have you thought about that? Now here's the question. Which one was easier to do? Of course, it's so much easier to write the negative stuff down because our minds have been programmed to see the negative. It's easy, it's simple, anybody can do it. A 3-year-old can figure out what's wrong with a relationship, a company, a church, or a group. That's easy to do. Anybody with 2 or more brain cells can figure that out. The hard part and the courageous part, the part where there's character and there's something good, is the person that can stand there and look at the company, the job, the profession, and start listing the things that are good and focus on that. Here's my guarantee. If you'll learn to change your focus and you'll focus on what you're doing good, you'll change how you feel about your job. And when you change how you feel about your job, you'll start to become happy, energized, focused, excited, vibrant, creative. Opportunities will pop up. Your life will change just because you changed your focus. Stop looking at the low-hanging fruit, all the things that are wrong, because anybody can do it. Start finding what's good and watch how it changes your job and your mentality. And then you won't think about that song anymore. You can take this job and shove it because you'll learn to love what you're doing, even in spite of the idiot bosses. My name is Ed Carcarey. I'd love to connect with you at edcarcarey.com. Find your passion. You'll find your life.